Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast. A little bonus edition for you this evening. Obviously, because of the news, unless you've been living under a rock for the last 12 hours, you would have known that Unai Emery has been relieved of his duties at Arsenal Football Club. Joining me this evening, a first-time guest. Daniel, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Craig? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely no problem at all, mate. The pleasure is all ours. Judges, how are you, mate? Have you calmed down?
It's been a busy day. I've been I've got a lot of love on Twitter. I've got a lot of hate on Twitter for the first time first time ever, and I'm being loved by Spurs and Arsenal fans at the same time. Who can say they can do that? You know what I mean? So there you go. So yeah, but an eventful day. Got to say that, a good day.
It is a good day. Yeah, it's a good day. But like I said, I put my tweet out this morning thanking him for everything that he'd done. Once a gooner, always a gooner, all that malarkey. He's not. I've no ill feeling towards the man. I don't see how anyone can. Okay, the thing is, it's just not worked out for him, has it? And at the end of the day, results. We're in a results business, and his results haven't been good enough, so he's had to go. Dan, let's start with you, mate. What was your first initial reaction when you heard the news this morning?
I was shocked. Actually, well, I wasn't shocked. I knew it was coming, but I was shocked that the board actually made the decisive action to get rid of him. Because, to be quite frankly, I don't trust this board, to make the right decision. And even after the game against Frankfurt yesterday, I thought that, okay, yes, he's got to go he's going to go soon. But then a small part of me was thinking, well, actually, he should go. But are this board man enough and big enough to do the right decision, to make the right decision? And that was always the question mark in my head. So to get the news this morning was great, because it means it sets a statement to the rest of the football world that we're actually trying to get back to where we need to be. But yeah, I'm sort of glad, because the performances of late haven't been great. The atmospheres haven't been great. So yeah, it's definitely the right decision. I think the club can move forward now. I think Emery can move forward. I mean, he didn't. The last couple of press conferences I listened to, he didn't sound connected with the club. He didn't sound connected with the fans. And it's clear to see that he's lost the dressing room, lost the fans. I think it's the right decision all round.
Absolutely, mate. Lee, what about you?
Yeah, look, listen, I'm going to be honest. I didn't think it was going to. I thought it was the right decision. It baffles me why it happened today, and why didn't they do it before Thursday? It baffles me why it didn't happen 2 weeks ago. And I'm a little bit like with Daniel. I thought that maybe that it would have happened after the Norwich game, but honestly, after yesterday, Craig, it was absolutely woeful. The performance, the atmosphere, everything about the game. And let's face it, Frankfurt ain't no great shakes, are they? Like, you know what I mean? And we were clueless, absolutely clueless. And I'm sure the board looked at that and thought, right, now it's got to be. And for the first time, Craig, I'm going to be honest, I see players by definitely 100% not bothering and not playing for manager. You could tell, absolutely tell. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could think, oh, are they or are they not? You weren't 100% sure. Watching it yesterday, players just did not want to be there last night.
Absolutely. I mean, Aubameyang's performance last night was it was awful, wasn't it? It was just like, he was like he was just like he was having a kick. Just here for a kick around,
Didn't want to get sweat on,
No. Daniel.
It begs the question, though, guys. So what does it say about the players if they can just down tools for a manager? They should be playing for the shirt, playing for the football club, playing for the fans. If they can just down tools as easily as they have done, what does it say about the mental character and the mental strength and the resilience of these players?
Absolutely.
Which,
I mean,
for me, is lacking.
Well, the first thing that's got to happen, I think, when a new manager comes in, is that he's obviously got to get he's got to get the unity back. He's got to get the team playing football again. And yeah, you're right. The players, whoever comes in next, the players, they're going to have to get a kick up the arse. And I hope that I hope Freddie can be the one to give the kick up the arse. A lot of people misunderstood what I said earlier on Twitter when I said that I hoped that it wouldn't be Freddie that got the job on a long-term basis. Obviously, I understand that Freddie's going to get the job now because he's the only fella that can really have it. But I wouldn't be too happy if he was given it on a long-term basis. Turkish, you just joining us there? You all right, mate?
Yeah, all good, all good. You can hear me well, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well, we'll just get your take on before we move. We'll get your take on when you heard the news this morning, mate. How did you feel?
Inevitable, really. It was bound to happen. It couldn't continue, and it's a shame, really, because, like Lee's mentioned in a couple previous interviews, the real problem isn't the manager, but he became the problem. He took the focus off what the real problem at the club is. And looking at the way the fans reacted, obviously this is our first manager post Wenger. The way I see it now, for Arsenal really to rise from the ashes and really come back to what I grew up on, what you all grew up on, we're going to need a manager to take us to the pinnacle of what this board will allow. And by that, I mean third, fourth at most, on a consistent basis, maybe 2-3 years before the fans actually unite and realize it is the board that is the be-all and end-all issue. I mean, a 13 million net spend masked by a 72 million Nicolas Pepe signing tricked us. Yes, I looked at the positions that we didn't fix in the centre-back and centre-mid, which are vital in the spine of any team. But the quality we have in the side is better than what Emery has managed to produce this season. So, like I said, it's a shame because the bigger problem still lies at Arsenal. But it's inevitable. He had to go.
Absolutely. Lee, if I said to you, what game could you put your finger on when you said to yourself, whether it be a game last season, whether it be a game this season, what was the game where you put your finger down and said, right, this is it. He's got to go now. Or when did you start to have doubts in your mind about where he was taking us?
Right, I'll tell you where I had them with doubts. He needed to get 6 points from Brighton and Crystal Palace to get third place, 3 points to get fourth place. He got 1 point. And those two home games were a big, big thing for me. I remember coming out of the Europa League final and Claude was going absolutely nuts. You know what I mean? We was all saying, calm down a little bit. Like, no, he's got to go and got to go. And we was talking. And the one thing that worried me, and I did say at the time, I said, the only thing that I'm worried about with him at the moment is if he cannot get players up for a cup final, then what chance have we got? Because that's what happened. You know what I mean? I watched Chelsea want it more than us. And I'll be honest, I wanted to give him more time to see how it was and all that. But for me, home game against Spurs this season, they was totally in disarray. And he went there very, very cautious, very, very defensively. And I turned around that game and said, they were there for the taking. We could have given him a good spanking. And but we went too defensive. And for me, then I felt that he was too cautious. I think the task of him getting into the top four become too much. I think that it took the pressure for it to become too much for him. And that was it for me. I know people went before that, some afterwards, but for me, that was the game. And I knew then that that this day was coming. And unfortunately, it should have come weeks ago.
Absolutely. Just before we move on, good afternoon to you all in the chat box. Good evening. Thanks for coming along at such short notice, but it was obviously inevitable that we were going to do some kind of a show this evening, obviously with the news that were breaking. So thank you everyone for coming along. Daniel, the big question. Unai Emery is now gone. We know that Freddie is taking over for the Norwich game. What kind of reaction do you think we could expect to see in the Norwich game?
I think it will be. I think it will be good, to be quite honest, because I think everybody will be behind Freddie because he is a legend. I think everybody will give him a bit of time. Everybody knows that it's going to take time to find the right manager. And I said it in a tweet this morning. I think I was replying to Kenny Ken. I said I'd rather the board make the decision and get the right manager than rush in and get the wrong manager, because I feel that's what they've done with Emery. And I feel that when Emery was brought in, that was the last parting shot from Gazidis, I reckon, because simply soon after that he left the club. So I think it's important this time that we get the right appointment, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to end up like another Man United, just going from bad manager, bad decision to bad manager to another bad decision. We need to get this right, because this decision with what manager we bring in will decide the whole direction of the football club.
Can't agree. Can't argue with that, mate. Turkish, we need to see a big reaction at the weekend. Freddie Lumbo's gone in there today and he's told the players that he believes they can turn it round and that he wants them to play for the shirt. What kind of reaction are you hoping for, mate?
I'm hoping for a positive one. I'm hoping for a reaction similar to the United reaction under Ole last season around the same time. That's the reaction I'm hoping for. Will that reaction be beneficial in the long term when you look at United? Possibly not. But the players have to take a lot of this blame as well. And you've noticed a few come out today. I think Martinez came out first. Saka's recently come out on Instagram. Laka's recently come out on Instagram. Feeling a bit sorry for Emery and saying like it could have turned out different. But it doesn't seem like there was any animosity between them. It seems like it just didn't work out. So the players have to hold some of this blame too. So I'm looking at the players now. All Freddie can really do 2 days into the job is tell them that they can turn it around. This is not a transfer window. So he's saying all the right things, but it's up to the players now to really step up. And the lack of leadership in the squad the past 2.5 years kind of puts me down to think this reaction won't be as good or as big as the United reaction last season. But that's what I hope for.
Yeah. Lee, we go to Carrow Road on Sunday. New manager, interim manager. Emery's gone. What's going to be? He's got to go for a big attacking lineup, and he's got to try and win. He's got to go for the jugular straight away. Do you think we're going to see a change in tactics? Do you think we're going to see a change in personnel? What's your feelings there?
Well, first and foremost, it's good that I can go now, like, you know what I mean? So that's the first thing I think, like, you know what I mean? So, do you know what I think all Freddie has to do is just let the shackles off. Just take the shackles off.
Yeah.
Just let them go out there and play. Play your best players. It's not rocket science football. Play your best players, and so that to me would be like, this is a time now to put your arm around Pepe, say, look, things haven't gone quite well as planned, over the last few months, but now there's a time, put yourself in there, get yourself focused today, and then just go out there and, like that film Gladiator, unleash hell, and that's what we've got to do. Just go and put all these three on there, Lacazette and Aubameyang, and really just go there. Put a back four in there that's strong, a defensive midfield player, and then the other two midfield players around that. That's all that I can do. So I think there will be a little bit of personnel change. I'm fed up with every game changing from 1 week to another. We've got 2 league games now where, barring injury, I expect to see the same side. This is what I'm going with. And, the boys that have got the shirts, make sure you keep them. The ones that haven't got the shirts, work hard to make sure you can get one. And that's how it's got to be. I don't think it's going to be anything worse than that. I think that if I was Freddie or the board at this moment in time, I would be looking to bring in somebody like Martin Keown or Tony Adams or, dare I say it, Steve Bold to shore up our defence. I think, maybe it's time for Steve Bold to show what he can do and see that he wasn't being hampered in what he was doing. So I think that there's some things there that we can do. Just get to some constructive players, defensive players, to probably just come in and just do a little bit of training, even talk to them. A bit of talking, and you just tell them what's expected, things like that, and try and get back the belief and what it is to be an Arsenal player, because I think it's just been lax. I think that's where it's just all gone quietly wrong. The one plus of last night, I have to say this, there was one plus, and that was the response that the fans gave Granit Xhaka. They forgive him, and I think that when they done that, that's fantastic for the fans to do that. And now he needs to realise that it's not all personal, blah, 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 clean sheet, and we go again.
Yeah. Well, he's got I suppose he has got a clean slate now because he's back, he's back in the team, and probably a good bit of management by him. His last good bit of management by Unai Emery was to put him in the team when the ground was half empty. Daniel, obviously the question comes along now then, who's going to take over? If it's not Freddie, which I don't think it will be, who knows? I've heard that he can only have the job for 12 weeks because he hasn't got a UEFA Pro A licence. That's what I've heard. So if at the end of Freddie's interim stay, who would you like to see come?
I think I'd like to see either Emery or Pochettino come in.
Poch.
I would take Poch. I really would, because he made Tottenham, despite what we all think of Tottenham, you can't argue with the fact that he improved them and he made them on a shoestring budget, made them a better team. And for a couple of years, they have been better than us. We have to admit, we have to be honest, and we have to say that, because they have been better than us. I'll take him. I'll take Emery. I don't think there's a lot of options out there at the moment. A lot of, I think he should, we should have let him go. We should have let Emery go in the international break, and then Mourinho would have been available, but we left it too late. So I don't think there's a lot of options out there at the moment.
Yeah, do you know what? Right, Turkish. I've said Poch all along. I have. Yeah. I'd love to see him come here, and I'd love to see him. Like I've said before on different podcasts, I'd love to see him give the biggest revenge mission ever to be seen in football. The way he was treated at Spurs and the way they left him out. I think the short list is it Poch, Allegri, Nuno, and
Arteta.
Arteta. I think Ancelotti's coming there, Turkish. Late.
Poch isn't even in that short list. The short list that Sky released, Poch is not in that short list.
Is he not?
5 managers. No, it's Ancelotti, Nuno, Arteta, Allegri, and Brendan Rodgers. That was the 5-man shortlist.
I think I've lost. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry. Brendan Rodgers, I don't think he'll come here. Would he leave Leicester? I don't know about that.
I doubt it.
Highly doubt that.
I can only echo what Daniel really said about Pochettino. I think when you look at the Sol Campbell saga, that was a massive moment in Premier League and in world football history, really. You look at that moment and you think, well, especially as an Arsenal fan, it was good times. Poch, I could see a similar story coming out of it if we managed to get Poch. I feel like the way he was let go by Tottenham at the end of the international break, if rumours are to be believed that they really pushed the Mourinho manager choice because Arsenal were interested, is to be true, then why wouldn't Poch want to come over here and prove them wrong for that choice? In my opinion, he's ready-made for the Premier League. He's got a style. You can trust him. We've got a little bit more money than Tottenham. We can give him a little bit more money, even with the Kroenkes. So, like I mentioned earlier, I believe we need a manager that's going to get the best out of this squad and out of this board. And Pochettino did that at Tottenham. So I think if he can do that with us at Arsenal, then the fans can finally unite and say, you know what, it is the board that's the issue, and we can finally get off the next manager's back, which, in my opinion, will most likely be the case if he doesn't do well. Fans will start getting on the manager's back, and it's just going to be a cycle. When you look over at United, they've gone through that cycle through Moyes, through Van Gaal, through Mourinho. They all thought it was that manager, this manager, that manager, until now they've realised their board is inept. Ed Woodward is not really the guy that they need behind the scenes, and they're really pushing that agenda now. We need to learn off them.
Yeah, that's a great point, Turkish. I think you're dead right. I think we do need to learn on from, and that's why I wouldn't put Freddie in like charge, even if we won 10 games on the spin, because I think that we've got to get is a coach that's prepared to get the very, very best out of our squad play. You know, make these players better than what they are. Now, who is that? You know, who is out there that can do that? You know, and for me, there's only one person that I think can do that from that point of view, and that is Brendan Rodgers. Now, everybody keeps saying, and I will state this again, and I'll state it as many times as I can. He won't leave Leicester. He won't leave Leicester. Well, I look at it from the player's point of view. Maguire left to go to Man United. You know what I mean? And because why? Because it's Man United. Why would he leave Leicester? Because it's Arsenal. I do believe that. I believe that, you know, it is a massive, massive club. And, you know, he's got more potential of winning things at Arsenal than he's got at Leicester. I get it that they're probably going to get top 4 this season, but that's because basically Arsenal, Spurs and Manchester United have not got their acts together, boys. They've not got their acts together. You know, we could have, if we'd have done it properly, we could have done this weeks and weeks ago. The Pochettino one is an interesting one. I've got to say that because I see the points of, you know, look, before he got sacked, there's no way he would have come here, but they sacked him. You know what I mean? So that to me leaves it free range for him to come and play. Come and manage Arsenal. But the other thing is you have to ask yourself with Pochettino is that 5 years, 6, 7 years ago, Tottenham didn't bother us, didn't care. You know what I mean? Oh, don't worry about them. All of a sudden, they've become a very, very nasty little nuisance. And the reason with that is because of Pochettino. He took them to somewhere that they haven't got. Now, also with Pochettino, what he'd done is he took Tottenham on for 2 years at the Wembley Stadium. You know what I mean? I have to say, you know, without a home to do what he'd done is terrific. So I wouldn't be against that, if I'll be honest. And people turn around and say, "Oh, well, he's Tottenham rubbish." Well, we never said that about Sol Campbell. You know, we took Sol Campbell with open arms because we knew he was a top player. That's the truth of the matter. It didn't matter where he came from. You know, we loved it. We loved to rub it into them because he was their best player, captain, and why that. So why not? I don't think it's a problem to take him like that.
Yeah, the potential of that story, the potential of the Pochettino story could be far greater than the story of Sol Campbell. Imagine the manager that brought Tottenham out from nothing, who finished above us 3 years in a row. They sacked him to get the man they thought Arsenal won.
Yeah, and Arsenal
and then he comes back here.
Only for him to come here and win trophies, put us back above them. That's a fairy tale for us.
Yeah, it would be lovely. It would be absolutely lovely.
And I think we need a fairy tale, Lee. I think that we've
been
so much
need something like that.
Decade. We need a fairy tale, and I think that's
Turkish. We need a massive lift. You know, and I'm going to be honest. Today's sacking has not been a massive list because there's so many more questions to be answered. You know what I mean? So for me, you know, it has to be. I'm going to say things now. Probably, I'm not going to go down the route because I don't want to. But like, you know, say like they got Arteta, it would be a real anti-climax for me. You know what I mean? I think Arsenal have got to come in there and really re-energise the club with something. I'm not saying big name. I'm just saying something that we can get our teeth into and start enjoying it. You know what I mean? That's what I think. You know.
Lee, last night you said on last night in your interview you said about the board. Obviously, we can all see. I think we all still realise that this board is a massive problem. Daniel, what do you think personally about the board? They have a lot to, you know, they've got to take a lot of blame for this as well.
They've got to be honest, they've got to take all the blame, in my opinion, because they let this go on. Even now with the sacking of Emery, they've left it too late. And a part of me thinks that they only sacked Emery because they knew them lot down the road had just sacked their manager and acted decisively If they hadn't have done that, could you honestly say that this board would have still sacked Emery? I'm not so sure. And a lot of what the board is doing is reactionary to other stuff. We're not being proactive. We're just being reacting to other football clubs. Whereas you look at teams like Chelsea, they just sack their managers like left, right, and centre. But they're being proactive. If it's not working, they sack and change. But with us, we only, change things when things are going really, really bad. And it is pretty bad. But so they've got to take all the blame, especially, Stan Kroenke. He's got to stop hiding behind Josh and start coming out and addressing the fans and addressing the real problems and stop hiding behind his company, because that isn't going to wash with Arsenal fans, and I don't think it's going to wash with anybody else. So he needs to start coming out and acting like the owner of this football club, because at the moment it just seems like he's a bit part owner, only wants the money and doesn't care about anything else. So yeah, they've got to take all the blame, in my opinion.
Turkish, do you agree with that, mate?
100% agree with it. I mean, I look back at the last years of Wenger, and it's a shame, because I believe a lot of the people that wanted Wenger out knew that the reason we wanted Wenger out was because he was the protective shield for the Kroenkes, and that once he was gone, we would realize that whether this board really mean business or whether they want to continue this club as a cash cow.
Yeah, great point.
And in the end, we've gone back to another manager, and the hoo-ha is all about that manager in or out. And that's why I'm upset, and that's why today is no cause for celebration as an Arsenal fan. I've seen videos left, right, and centre laughing, doing this, doing that. It is not a cause for celebration. We've got Norwich away in a couple of days, and best believe Norwich are going to be well up for that.
Yeah.
Well up for that. And if things don't go to plan like everyone hopes it will after a managerial change, then what are we left with next week? At the end of the day, Tottenham moved decisively, and they got everything done within a 48-hour swing. Old manager out, new manager in. I don't believe they made the right decision in that move, but we will see if that is to become or not. But us, on the other hand, Emery's role should have been up for debate weeks ago, and it doesn't seem like this board have even spoken to Poch. And it says today that contact's been made with Allegri. Surely we should have been contacting these sorts of managers previous to making this decision.
You don't think that's a bit of a smokescreen, mate? Because the contact with managers, we see a report come out today that, and one of the reporters outside Sky Sports, outside the Emirates, the Sky Sports reporter said that Raul and Unai actually flew to the States last week to talk to Kroenke about the manager situation.
Yeah, but they obviously didn't have they must have went there, talked about it. They didn't come out with a decision whether to sack him or not, because he didn't get sacked for another couple games, and they didn't come out with a decision for the next manager because we still don't know who it is. Like I said, Tottenham 48-hour swing. He was out, Mourinho was in. We knew what was going on. If they went all the way to America, surely things should have been finalized. That okay, if we give Emery these 2 games and it doesn't work out, we talk to this man because this is the man we want. Even when Wenger left, we all thought it was Henry for 2 weeks. Then we all thought it was Arteta for 2 weeks. At a time, it was Allegri for a few weeks. In the end, it was Unai Emery out of nowhere. So I don't believe none of these reports, none of these anything. I wouldn't be surprised if Ljungberg continues for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I read a report today that apparently it was Kroenke that wanted to give Emery more time, and that Raul was trying to get him out the club. I don't know how true that is, because these reports are utter garbage.
I read a report today that Raul Sanelli was pushing for a contract extension for Unai Emery. So that, that's what we read and that's what we hear.
Yeah.
They flew to America last week to discuss. Have they made contact with anyone behind Emery's back, if you like? Lee, what would you say? I mean, we see like Turkish hits the nail on the head there. Spurs let Poch go, and then within 48 hours they had another manager. Would you like to see Would you like to see it happen? Do you think, come Brighton, we'll have Freddie will go back to assistant, and we'll have another main man?
Well, I like to think, and I'm not saying that Arsenal do have a little bit of class, that they've not tapped up and he won, why he's still there. I think that, you know, if they've said they're backing their manager, they're backed him, you know what I mean, for right or wrong reasons. You know, I don't agree with it, but now that Emery's gone, you know, I think that the right thing to do is to put in a temporary manager, and then like to recruit like what a classy club does. Not why a manager's there that's certainly doing you some good stuff, go behind their back and try and sign someone. So let's just hope that Arsenal have done the right thing, and I don't see a problem with that. But it's now, you know, the process is that I think that if Freddie comes in and does a good job, that's what you know, Manchester United done it with Solskjaer, didn't go behind people's back, you know what I mean, and no one went behind Mourinho's back, but he was quite happy to go behind someone else's back. So, you know, good luck to him. Like, you know, let the devil play with the devil. That's what I say. Like, you know, so I think that maybe we've done the right thing, and let's just take our time now. There's no rush. You know, if Freddie comes in and does one or two good games, you know, let's let him go in there and do what he does. If things work out, then fine. If it doesn't look like the players are on board with Freddie, then we've got to react a bit quicker. That's how I think that it'll work. But I think it's very, very important they identify the man that they want, and if he's still in a job, then make sure that they get him. You know, whether it be Rodgers, whether it be whoever, you know, and go for it. Let's not go for a cheap option either, boys, because he's available. Let's go down that route there. If it is Allegri, then let's go right. Let's talk to him and get the job done. Like, you know, and the board have now got a responsibility. I don't know who it is, Raul, Edu. They have a big job. They earn good enough money now to make the right decision. Now, according to reports, you know, Gazidis was Emery's choice. Well, that was his parting shot for us, old Gazidis. You know what I mean? Why they went anything with him, I don't know. So now this is the decision of the new board, the new regime. This is their chance to make us to make a stand and put a proper stamp on who they want as manager. And do I have faith in them? No, I don't. You know, I mean, I personally, after this what's gone on over the last few weeks with Raul, I think that he should resign straight away and get rid of him. Like, you know what I mean? Get somebody else. That's my opinion, because this is what's happened over the last few weeks has been embarrassing. It's been embarrassing for the manager. In Emery, I don't feel sorry for Emery, but I look at him now, like, and I see him, and I have to say, I look at him and they hung him out to dry. I don't, you know, look at him. Look what he was like the last few. You know, that to me is a board that don't care about who they've got in their football club. You know, because he was in agony, he was in pain, and they continue to let it happen. They continue to let the fans suffer as well. So I think that one of the good things they need to do is get David O'Leary on that board, so they've got someone that knows what they're talking about as far as football is concerned, and the Arsenal in his blood. So I think that would be a good thing, and then we can go there from there, and who we get is who we get. Yeah,
because Daniel, it's a bit of a weird time to come in, isn't it? Halfway through the season, I think a lot of managers would prefer to come in, you know, at the end of the season, so that at least they've got a summer and a transfer window to work. Do you think we'll see a main manager come Brighton?
I think we'll see one quickly. Hopefully, I think Freddie will be in charge for about 2 or 3 games. I really do, and then I think we'll see one maybe just after Christmas or just before the Christmas period. But I think as well that we've still got time on our side to make top 4. We've still got time on our side to get far in the Europa League. So I think I'm not too worried about the timing, because we you know, we've still got enough games to make up ground. So I'm not overly concerned about the timing. But yeah, I think the new manager will come in maybe for the Man City game, probably. Yeah, I do think it'll be. I don't think it will be quick, but I do think it will be before the Christmas period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. Turkish. I was speaking to Graham earlier, and he was saying to me, warning me really that this isn't something that should be rushed, because we can't really afford to get it wrong again. I know there's no guarantee that a manager's going to come in and work his magic, but quite important that the Arsenal and the board get this one right.
Yeah, it's not. It's more so they can't afford to get it wrong more than we can't.
Yeah.
Because us fans have given them enough time. I feel like the Kroenkes didn't get a clean slate when Wenger was finally let go. Their reign is the last decade, and this last decade has been a mess. We can go back to 8-9 years ago and pick out points and things that Arsenal did that are embarrassing. Like Lee just said, we've been the most embarrassing club out of the top ones in the Premier League over the last decade. And to say that as an Arsenal fan, and the class that comes with Arsenal and the usual fan base, and what's happened to the fans, what's happened to the board, what's happened to the players, from Granit Xhaka getting booed off to the managers being handed out to fans not uniting, it's all because of the board. That's all it comes down to. People can have their opinions of AFTV. Like Ray Parlour came out today and said whatever he said about AFTV. We wouldn't be going on moaning or upset if we was actually winning. But if Parlour can tell me a time in the past 2.5 years where I've been on AFTV, where I could be jubilant, where I could be excited, where I could be optimistic, then I'll welcome him to do so, because there hasn't been one moment I can be hopeful, optimistic, or jubilant about something at Arsenal. So for me, it's just...
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not going to look too much into what Ray Parlour said. That Talk Sport is absolutely awful. I hate it. It's the worst radio station ever. All they do is just bait Arsenal fans.
And also as well, Ray Parlour done an interview with AFTV, and it was good enough for him then, back a couple of years ago. So I don't think you take any notice of that, to be honest.
Yeah, good point. Lee, you had something to say about that today, mate. What do you take? What's your take on what Ray Parlour said?
I think Ray's like saying that I don't think he's having a go at the Arsenal fans by saying it's the Arsenal fans that want to. What he's saying is actually the owners of the channel. It's better for them if we lose, because they're going to make more money. Which at the end of the day is probably true, that he's going to make more money. But whose fault is that? Whose fault is it that does Robbie sit in the stands so if Robbie's in the stands yesterday and he's sitting there going, I hope they lose. It doesn't make Arsenal lose because he's wishing it. I mean, the actual team performing makes them lose, and what goes about it, so
exactly. Yeah.
I want Spurs to lose every game, but it don't happen. You know what I mean? So is also listen, Ray Parr was going, oh, blah, blah, blah. As soon as it went to 10 o'clock and the manager went out, his first reaction, oh, yeah, he had to go. Because the owners of the club have done it. He works for the owners of the club. So he's gonna say that, he knows where his bread is buttered, you know what I mean? Like at the end of it. So there you go. But what really annoys me is, you can all be critical about Arsenal fans and the TV. It's all about making money, right? Yeah. But then when I see 1,000 fans on the all in corporate, £500 a pop, which the Arsenal board were allowed to do. Yeah. No Arsenal fan was allowed to go in corporate yesterday, because they had them all up there earning them a load of money, 1,000 of them, and I look at that. But no one says nothing about it. That's all right for them to make money on that. It's ridiculous. You can't be doing that, making money on that, and getting all of that. Come on. There's certain things at the club that are wrong, and you have to say what they are. Now, I get.
Sorry, Lee. When you're completely right, and I had to unmute my mic for this because it kills me. It kills me that people that we adored and loved, like Arsene Wenger, like Ray Parlour's comments today, like Robert Pires has said over the years under Wenger, why the people we loved growing up, the people we loved when we was winning stuff that showed 100%, why none of them can come out and tell the truth about Arsenal Football Club? Why it's left to us fans to say it on AFTV and essentially look bad because we're always... When will one of our legends step up and actually say it how it is in front of a camera, for it to go viral, because I'm tired of us going viral,
Right.
or troops going viral, or Lee going viral. Someone, because we get brushed aside so easily, someone with credibility that's played for the club, like a Ray Parlour or like an Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger, come out with your book next year and tell the truth about this board and show that you actually did give a shit about the fans. None of the players have done it. From David Seaman, who comes on Sky Sports, from Paul Merson, from Thierry Henry, none of them have come out and told the truth about how fucked the club has been over the past decade.
Right. Well,
and that's nothing I hold against them.
I've got to come in there. I've got to come in there, like, you know what I mean. This is a fact, right? This is a fact. You've got players, right? Ian Wright's come out at times and said things very, very controversial, and he's been hammered, right? Yeah, he's been hammered, right? The fact of the matter is that these players that are in there now, they get well looked after, Turkish. You know what I mean? They get paid to go around the world and earn a good living. Doing what they're doing now, you know, and so what? It's very, very hard for them. So now, if you get them on their own and around a table and you talk about it, they'll tell you exactly how they feel about it. Like, you know, but what they tell you then on a camera is completely different. And I also get, you know, like there are people like Paul Merson that has criticised the Arsenal at the time, and people like Stuart Robson have done it as well. Like, yeah, and what happens is all the privileges go out of the window, right? And I mean, like, you know, like there's the thing like the 100 Club, which Paul Merson's part of. You know, it doesn't get invited in there no more. You know, so it's very, very cliquey sometimes, and you have to be a part of that. Now, going back to the Arsenal Fan TV thing, there are lots of things that are wrong with it, and we all know that. You know what I mean? There are lots of things that are good of it, and there are things that are bad with it. You know. Like for instance, there's a lot of good content. Your show, by the way, is fantastic when you go on there, but people don't see that. They just see the fan cams.
Yeah.
They don't see that.
Yeah.
Like when you ever look at those shows, it's proper Arsenal fans watching that, and proper and the content is very, very good, you know. But when you're going on the fan cams, don't forget people are emotionally whatever, and this is what, you know, very emotional and things, and get reacting. Of course, people are going to go onto that, like, you know. But ultimately, people turn around and say it's embarrassing, it's this and it's that, right? I'll tell you what is embarrassing, right? Yeah, going to an Arsenal stadium of 60,000, which we've moved to, and there's hardly anybody in it. That's embarrassing. So that's Arsenal fans, are they embarrassing for not turning up? No, I don't criticise them for that. It's their right. If you want to go on there and speak about certain things on a fan channel, then go and speak it, like, you know. And I think that's right. You know, there's certain things I'd be honest, I don't agree with on Arsenal Fan TV, and I agree with some of it. But people have got a jealousy or a thing about Arsenal Fan TV making money, right? But the pubs make money out of Arsenal. The programme seller makes money out of Arsenal. The man on that sells his burgers is making money out of Arsenal. The shops around it, the chip shops, are all making money on Arsenal. Now, the difference between that, like the pubs and that, if Arsenal is successful, the more people come, the more people go to the pubs. The less Arsenal like, you know, like yesterday, I see the burger people, they're moaning and groaning. They've got all loads of different burgers over because there's not so many people there. So the worse Arsenal do, the more the pubs and the burger people suffer. The more, but with Arsenal fans, it's the other way round. You know, listen,
Lee, there's people out there that actually think that Arsenal Fan TV affect results. I mean, it's just ludicrous.
Listen. This happened all the way from in the 70s and 80s, and you know what? When Terry Neill got sacked, and I don't know if there's people on the chat and where, when Terry Neill got sacked, right? What happened was, or when he was going through his thing, everybody used to go around to the main stand, each stand where the dressing room was, and call for his head. We want Terry Neill out. Are all of them out of order? Are them all embarrassing? But then 30 years later, they're on the internet going, "Oh, that's embarrassing. You're embarrassing because you're doing that." But they were probably doing it it's in a different way.
I've said it before. Arsenal Fan TV has always been about, but just not with the cameras haven't. That's all it is.
I've got to say this: Arsenal fan TV become bigger than what it was because of Arsene Wenger and that era. What happened? What happened then? I don't think it would have blown up the way it did, but it was the way it was. Now, whose fault was that?
Mm-hmm.
Whose fault was that it was allowed to blow up like that? It was the board and Arsenal Football Club and the poor performances. But let's brush all over them and blame a channel which it isn't really like, you know. But listen, I get into conversations with a lot of people that don't like it. I understand some of their reasons for it. Me and Turkish know that. We've had conversations before, you know, but there's other things that we agree on. But ultimately, you know, people don't know the good contents and all that because they don't see it. And that's the fact, you know what I mean?
And at the end of the day, the good content comes. Well, don't get me wrong. There is some good interviews after the game, like yourself and Turkish and Graham and Kenny Ken are the ones that I watch. But what people have got to understand is that when you're coming out of a football game, you've just seen your team lose to Frankfurt, you're going to be pissed off.
Exactly. What do
people want to do? To come and say, you know, oh, hello, Robbie. Oh, that was bad, wasn't it, Robbie? Oh my, that wasn't very good. You know, I mean, it's just not going to happen. That's not what happens. Yeah. Arsenal fan TV, in my opinion, is a genius idea where a man stands outside a football ground and interviews pissed off football supporters. It's genius. Daniel, what would you say about that? You've been on Arsenal fan TV.
I think you know, I think the platform is good. I think I can, you know, I think what people have an issue with is probably the same people going on, you know, week in, week out. So
like Lee Judges.
No, I'm just saying, like, in their eyes, you know, they're probably seeing us, the same people say, whereas the fan base, the actual Arsenal fan base is a lot bigger than the regulars that go on AFTV. But all people are seeing is the same people. Yeah. So
it's a great point.
They're just thinking, you know, that there's only a section of fans, a little number of fans. They're not actually seeing that it's actually what everybody's saying on AFTV is what 90% of the fans are saying. It's just that
they're not on camera.
It's just they're not on camera. There's only a select few that.
Craig, can I make a point?
You can. Before we move on, because we're kind of
just one more point. This, right? I just need to say this. Ray Parlour said exactly the same thing on Talk Sport today. He says, it's the same people on it all the time, right? Yeah. But when they do their feed and put the people on, you know what I mean? Who was on? Troops and DT. They put them two on there. Like that. So you know, why are they putting them two on there? Because they know. Because they're the biggest people on there, so they're going to get more reaction. So they're telling you, oh, this is what it's like, and then do exactly the same, you know. And I've got to say this: Arsenal fan TV. I do not represent when I go on Arsenal fan TV, Arsenal fans. I represent what I feel, my opinions. Yeah, you know what I mean. Now, if you agree with them, great. If you don't, not a problem. But I think that's people think that DT. He represents Arsenal. No, he doesn't. He doesn't represent me. I don't agree with some of the stuff he says. You know what I mean? Like Troops and that, I don't agree with some of the stuff. That's the way it is. You know, me and Turkish, I'd like to think that we're on the same sort of page. We sort of similarly agree with each other. That's how it is. But it doesn't. Turkish doesn't represent me, and I don't represent Turkish. You know, I represent this show because I'm part of it. Like, I mean, I'm very proud of that. But I don't represent Arsenal fans.
All right. All in the chat box. Get your questions in. We've got 15 minutes to go. 10 minutes to go. Get some questions in, and we shall answer them for you if we can. Let's have a look here now.
No AFT ones, though.
No AFT. A lot of them. There's a lot of them. Let's have a look. Here we go. This one comes in from. This is well laggy tonight. I don't know what's going on with it. This one comes in from Just Being. Do you think Freddie will rely more on the youth players who he is familiar with whilst in charge in the interim?
Question. Brilliant.
Turkish, we'll come to you with that first.
Yeah, I'd say so, to be honest. It's a bit hard not to rely on them right now when they're the only shining light in the squad. Do you know what I mean? You look at Saka, Martinelli, Guendouzi. Those are the players that have really shone in a poor start to this season. So they're the players that I want to see more of. Obviously, you want to get the Pepe, the Aubameyang, Lacazette, Ozil in. But essentially, I don't know what to expect from Freddie. But because he has worked with the youth players, I will hope that they do understand his system and they know him a bit better than the first team squad already do.
Lee, what would you say on that one, mate?
I think that's a great question. I think that if he did go with the younger players, the more experienced players can't moan because they've been awful. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it'd go mixed. If I'll be honest, if I be blatantly honest about it, I think that it'd be. I think it'd be mainly what we like. I think Freddie would be mad, say for instance, to put Reece Nelson in place of say over Martinelli or Pepe. You know what I mean? If I'll be honest, something like that. But I think he'd be very, very cautious about that. But I think that they'll definitely get a chance. Yeah, and why not? And what I would like to think is if they do get a chance and they play well, then he keeps them in the team.
Especially off the bench. I see Freddie Ljungberg utilising the youth players off the bench a lot better than Emery did.
Yeah,
but like in the last half an hour, bringing Martinelli on could cause a lot of damage to a lot of teams. So,
Dan, let's ask you this one, mate. Do you think Freddie will play Xhaka?
Possibly.
I think he's injured, to be honest.
But I just want to answer that previous question as well, because I actually think he'll go with experience. Because I think at this stage, the most important thing is getting results.
Yeah,
I think he's going to look at it, and I think he's going to go, well, actually, we've not won in the last 7 games, and I think we're 8 points off the top 4. I think the most important thing is playing the players that are going to get us results, because we need to get wins on the board, and we need to get them on the board fast, because once you get past Christmas, the season just speeds up then. And then all the other competitions come in, like the FA Cup, and you get to the business end of the season. So I actually think that he'll play the strongest possible team that he can, just because we need the results.
Okay, good answer, mate. Turkish, we'll come to you for this one first, mate. Do you think that Freddie can get Pepe's confidence back in him? And that comes in from Lee Farrell. Thank you very much, Lee.
How's it going, Lee? 100%. I think Lee said it earlier. It's about just unleashing the shackles, and that's all Pepe needs. That's the sort of player you go out and tell him, you go and play. He needs the Wenger mode. Go out and enjoy your football. It's just that Wenger's downfall was telling everyone that, but Pepe needs that. Same way Klopp probably tells Salah and Mane the same thing. Guardiola probably tells Sterling and Mahrez the same thing. Pepe is a player where you need to just unleash him, give him the freedom he needs, and he will excel. So I'm expecting big things from Pepe, and I think Freddie will suit him, in my opinion.
Lee, this one comes in from Karen. Good evening, Karen. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Karen wants to know, if we got Allegri, do you think he would instantly transform our defence?
I'll tell you what, he instantly think I need a new one. You know what I mean? That's what I think he'll do, and try and change it all in January. Listen, I think, yes, I think he will improve it, because I think, listen, when you're coaching, the easiest thing to do is coach defensive football. It's the easiest thing. I think Jamie Carragher said it on Monday Night Football the other day, and it certainly is. So I think that there will be an improvement in it. I think it needs to be someone in front of it as well to protect it. But ultimately, we need new defenders. But I think the answer to the question is, I think he will improve it, but not as much as what everybody thinks it is, because it ain't good enough.
No, absolutely not. Let's bring this one in. This one's from Payush. I hope I've said that right. Thank you very much for your question, mate. He says, journalists say Levy was decisive in getting Mourinho, knowing Arsenal approached him for the job. Do you think Arsenal should return the favour by getting Poch? Sorry, there's a mad noise coming from one of you there now. Do you think AFC should return the favour by getting Poch or go for Allegri? Pick one and why. Turkish, we'll come to you first.
Poch, I've already said my reasons. He's built for the league. He's got a point to prove to Tottenham. You can trust him with a limited budget. So yeah, it's all Poch for me right now.
Lee, Allegri?
Allegri for me. The one, there's four and pluses and for minuses for both of them. The Pochettino one because he's managing the Premier League. I like that you've got the experience. Emery didn't manage in the Premier League and it took him time. And look what happened. But I think with Allegri, wherever he's gone, he's won things. And I was lucky enough to watch Juventus a couple of times in the Champions League final, and they give Juventus one hell of a game that day. I like the way he goes about it. I love the way he changed tactics against Tottenham and knocked them out of the cup a couple of years ago with an aging Juventus side. Imagine what he could do with a young, vibrant side. So for me, Allegri. But as I'm going to say, I'm not against Pochettino. I'm not against him by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that they don't want Poch because he hasn't won anything, this, that, and the other. It's just for me, it's just not a reason not to employ him.
Can I just come in on that one, because I think we need to get over this because he's not won anything. Because right now we need to go up a level before we can go to that elite level of winning stuff. I think we need to accept the fact that we're not going to go.
Brilliant point.
We're not going to go straight from where we are now to winning titles and winning Champions Leagues and winning, left, right, and centre. We need to actually go to that level that Poch got Tottenham to before we can go to that elite level.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of our fan base need to realise that, because it's not going to happen overnight.
Bloody good point, Daniel. Bloody good point. I mean, look, this is another good one. I mean, JJ comes in there and says Emery won stuff, and look how it's ended.
I totally agree.
Very true. And you look at Klopp. Klopp's reputation wasn't the best before Liverpool. He was looked at as a serial loser in finals as well until now, and he's up there as the best manager in the world. It's about the platform you give that manager. It's about realizing what you see in him, and that's what Liverpool did that time. They realized what they saw in Klopp. They got him in, and the rest is history right now.
And also as well, it's all well and good getting the manager in, but the board need to back him with the finances. Liverpool backed Klopp, and this is where, it comes to, like Turkish's point about the board backing the manager, because it's all well and good bringing in a manager like Pochettino that could get us to, maybe the top 4 or even the top 3. But then once we've done that, are this board strong enough to go and say, right, now you've done that, now we want you to start challenging for a title. Here's X amount of money. Here's 200 million or 300 million. Go and sort the squad out and challenge for the title. I personally don't think this board are anywhere near that at the moment.
Because you know what it is as well. Sorry, just to add on to that point. Mate. Wenger hit that pinnacle. Wenger hit that pinnacle of 3rd or 4th every season, where the board needed to back him even more, and they didn't. And us fans realised it's the board until Wenger started coming out and backing them. And that's why he took their attention away from them. We need a manager to come and do what Wenger was doing for us. And yes, I can admit that. But I was still part of Wenger leaving because he was too much of a protection to them. But we need a manager to come in, consistently get 3rd, 4th for 2-3 years. And then we'll realise that this board is poison.
Well, listen, I've got to say this, like last January, so it's just nearly a year ago, Emery come out, I think it was when we played West Ham, and said, I've got no funds. No funds. Yeah. He come out and said that. So, as much as Emery has failed, he certainly hasn't been backed by this board. It's not hide away from that fact. He's been left to high and dry by a weak, cheapskate board. And I'm looking very, very carefully at what they're going to do here, because there will be a cheap option out there. And if they go down that route, that tells you everything you want to know about this board. But Emery has not been backed.
A month ago, Lee, in an interview, randomly, Emery said, I wanted Fabinho last summer, but I got Torreira. I think he said that to show that, listen, I wanted Fabinho. Look at all the plaudits he's getting now at Liverpool. Yeah. But I got Torreira, and I'm getting criticised for playing him out of position when he's flirted with AC Milan in the summer and whatnot. So for me, I think that Emery, he came out and told us we've got no funds. It was tight transfer windows. Even this summer, we was tricked.
He come out and said Zaha, didn't he? He come out and physically said, "I want Zaha," and they give him his apprentice. That's what they done. You know what I mean? Like, full of potential. Where he would have had the Premier experience player who's gone through the Premier League. So and like as everybody's saying, it's going to take Pepe time. Well, yeah, it wouldn't. But like for Zaha, he didn't have to move house, nothing. He was in the Premier League. He knew exactly what he was doing. So I think at the end of the day, they have hung him out to dry. Simple as that.
They certainly have. Now listen. We go to Norwich on Sunday. We'll end on some predictions for Sunday. Turkish, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm just.
Yeah. No, he's not. Lee, we'll start with you. What kind of lineup do you think we're going to see under Freddie? Are we all going to sit? Are we all going to sit at this? Are we going to stare at the screen in amazement?
No, I don't.
When he plays a free fight, when he plays five at the back.
No, I think he'll go four at the back, two holding midfield players, Mesut Ozil in front of that, and the three up top. That's what I think he'd do. So I think the key areas are the two midfield players that he plays. What he plays there. I think that Xhaka took a knock yesterday, so he might not be available. So that would be the interesting thing there. I think the back four may be a little bit different now because also Luiz got injured yesterday. So I see the fullbacks being Chambers and I think, mate, I'll tell you what, it wouldn't surprise me if Maitland-Niles come back in at right back tomorrow, Sunday, because obviously like Bellerin's not fit. And put Chambers in at right back. But you know what? And mate, or Mustafi at right back. And Mustafi deserves a chance if I'm honest. I'm not saying he's a great answer, but he deserves a chance over what I've seen of Socrates and that. So I wouldn't be. But I think he got injured and all yesterday. So I don't really know. But I think he'll go four at the back, 2-1-3. That'd be my system that I think he'll play. And I've got a feeling Arsenal are going to turn it around and they're going to win this one 2-0.
Daniel, what would you like to see at the weekend, mate?
I'd like to see, especially the front three. I'd like to see the experience, Pepe, Aubameyang, and Lacazette. I'd like to see Ozil as well. I think we need players because let's not forget as well, our away form has been poor. So I guess is Freddie's got that to contend with as well. But I am expecting a win on Sunday. I'm expecting us to win. I don't think it will be as comfortable as 2-0, but I think we'll just win 1-0. I think it'll be too early to suggest anything else at the moment because it's going to be this upheaval for the players as well. But they have to now start performing. They can't hide behind, we're waiting for the manager to be sacked because he's already gone. So they need to play for the shirt, play for the badge, play for the fans, get behind Freddie. The one thing I think it will do to the dressing room is having a legend like Freddie in the dressing room. I think it will give them a massive lift. So I'm expecting a win. I'm going for 1-0.
I like it, mate. I like it. Turkish, I'm actually excited. Again, I am. Inside of me, I'm excited. I'm excited to see Aubameyang, Lacazette. I'm excited to see Torreira hopefully playing in his natural position. Are you excited like me? Sunday comes, game on. I haven't felt. I wish the game was tomorrow. I'm really excited again about watching Arsenal.
I am and I'm not. Because I just don't know what's around the corner right now, Craig. I can't lie to you. I was excited when Wenger left. I was excited this summer with Nicolas Pepe. And again, I was let down both times. So right now, I'm still a bit nervous. I can't lie to you. I'm excited in a sense to see where we're going to go and where we can take this post-Emery. But I'm also nervous, Craig. I can't lie. I'm nervous. It'll be interesting to see what Freddie does. I know everyone's shouting for the Oba and Laka to be starting, but I actually think that's part of Emery's downfall as well, trying to shoehorn both of them in all the time. And that was to appease us fans. We wanted them starting every game from the early parts of last season. And how often has it worked when they have started together? For me,
Yeah, not many. Yeah.
for me, I believe it just brings an imbalance to the attack. So I wouldn't be surprised if we play Ober up top, Pepe out on one side, and Saka or Martinelli out on the other side, bringing some youth on one side. So it provides more balance and gives some firepower off the bench too. I'm excited to see what Freddie can do, because I'd love for Freddie to hit the ground running. I'd love for him. I don't want Freddie's reputation damaged. He is an Arsenal legend through and through, and that's one thing that can't happen.
Okay, that's the end of tonight's show. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for coming in. Over 700 of you watched us live. Thank you very much indeed. Massive viewership again. Thanks very much indeed. So yeah, Unai has gone. We move on. I hope you all enjoy the game on Sunday. My thanks to Daniel. Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, Dan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
An absolute pleasure, mate. Our pleasure.
Been brilliant, mate. Been brilliant.
Turkish, thank you very much indeed, sir, for seeing my messages when you got in from work, and replying to them. So thanks very much for coming on, mate.
No worries.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure,
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it.
Everyone watching, please head over to Turkish's YouTube channel. Does some great stuff on his own one, and of course on Arsenal Fan TV as well. He has his own show. Lee be on there sometimes, and it is a very, very good show. Please go over there and show him some love and show him some support. Judges, no problem, mate. No problem. Judges, you're going down to Norwich.
I'm going down Norwich, going up there in Norfolk, so I'm looking forward to it. I honestly am now.
You're mute, Leo.
No, I'm not.
I can hear him.
Oh, all right.
I can't.
So I'm looking forward to
you can
going to
hear
the Arsenal games. Can you hear me, Daniel?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I can only hear you, mate. That's all right.
So I'm looking forward to going to the Arsenal games again, and I'm hoping that we can come back with 3 points.
Absolutely. So, fingers crossed. Let's back Freddie until something else happens. Let's get behind the boys, and hopefully they can do the business against Norwich on Sunday. We shall be back on Monday. Usual time, usual place, 7:30, talking Norwich. And let's hope we are talking about 3 points and a good performance. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and up the Arsenal.
Come on, you Gooners.